finally here, everybody.
We
We had
here.
some
We
technical
here.
difficulties, so we coming in a little bit later than usual, but we want to bring a good show. So this is the One and One Sports Show. We appreciate y'all for joining in. I'm Shawnee,
I'm Dante.
and we got some good NBA topics to get into today. And then if we have time allows, we'll touch on a little baseball. But the first topic we're going to touch on is basically, I guess, coming out the weekend. It was the biggest story coming out the weekend in the NBA, and then until the game started, and that's the whole John Morant thing, episode 2. So, if folks who didn't know, just to catch y'all up, approximately, but what, and this is just, I'm just going on the stuff that the NBA that really came out on national news, because there was other incidents that happened, but they just didn't really get the big attention, and just some people just knew about it here and there. But about less than 2 months ago, John Morant was, well, he did it. He posted it. He was doing the Instagram live, and he showed himself waving a gun at a club. So when all that was said and done, he did his whole, I guess, PR spiel after not only talking to the Grizzlies front office. Hell, he even went up and talked to the NBA front office. He was a commissioner. And then finally he sat down that same day. He sat down with Jalen Rose to do an interview, and he was talking about what happened at the club. And then he ultimately went into this therapy class. I think what to say 96 hours, when usually
Yeah.
people go do that for like a month and at least a month. So that was about a little less than 2 months ago. So in the grand scheme of things, this is, you can pretty much say this is immediately after, because he came back right, I think like 5 games
5 games
or
or so.
so, yeah, before the regular season. So he was able to get back in some type of rhythm before the postseason. Well, of course, they got eliminated by the Lakers. Probably no more than what, a week after they was eliminated, maybe 2 weeks. Um, it was another Instagram live feed. This time it was done by his homeboy in the car, and this one was quick. You saw the
Yeah.
gun flash, but right when his homeboy saw it, you saw him try to hurry and move the camera. It's live feed. Once people saw that, they was able to grab it and make a still picture and everything. So now we back into this whole thing again with pretty much as soon as that happened, the Grizzlies just suspended Morant from all
Yeah.
team functions indefinitely, and we now just waiting on what the NBA, or I think the NBA is gonna make the. Cause I believe the Grizzlies
They
suspended him
preemptively
last
did it
time.
the last time.
Yeah,
The last time
and
they kind of like jumped out in front of it, and it's just. I'm gonna be real. Basically, with it, which I'm trying to find the exact game he came back in April. Whenever he came back for that game and announced that he was coming back from the 8 game suspension, you might as well, like I'm with you, Shana, you might as well tie that directly into this. Because what they said was he's clearly dealing with some things. And so you don't want to get into, and so I've been listening to different pods about it and stuff. You don't want to say, hey, like I heard basically the pod I listened to was with Mike Jones. He's like, you don't want to say somebody's an alcoholic. But he was like, I seen homie drink a bottle of tequila, like straight just down it. And he was just like he was like, kind of don't look. That's not like that's not stuff that normal people normally do. And you see somebody doing that, it's like damn. And to do that, probably need a lot of practice. And so that's going on. It's pressures in his life. Obviously, he's not responding to things well. Like you said, Sonny, the multiple incidents. And I just want to say, from the people that think like, hey, well, people post guns or it's not really a problem. I'll say this: if you're someone that had an incident with a laser pointer and unless it's a middle schooler, if you see a laser pointer, usually it might be attached to a weapon. And you're aiming it at people in a van, that was something that he was linked to. You probably don't need to be, around guns on a fashion of showing them on social media. If you had a gun range, whatever. You show people your guns, but hey, look at all this. Maybe you're a gun collector. Who knows? But like showing it on social media, it's just like to me, it's just like that's dumb. It's just the fact that it's dumb, and it's not about like just the fact of it being the money or anything like that. To me, it's more of a do you not have the self awareness to know that like, hey, there's certain stuff that I can't do anymore. If you were
Mhm.
John Morant, 22 years old, even if you were fresh out of college and you wanted to do that, and yeah, it's still a job that you're looking at, or you just somebody working that 9 to 5 or whatever, young man figuring it out. That's just things like you can't do when you just did this. So like I'm kind of like and obviously it's easy to ignore because like you're hard in the playoffs. When it happened the last time, it was like such a big deal, and when we talked about it, on the last show that we talked about it when he was going through these things, and it's just like it's clear to me everything wasn't resolved. You sit like people were thinking, hey man, and you know how basically in the media world you can hear certain things, but unless it's verified on the record and you're allowed to say it, you can't say it. And people were kind of tiptoeing around and was like, he might not come back and play anymore this year. And then for him to come back, oh, the suspension's 8 games, he'll be back this day. And it was all about, hey, this is our championship window, let's go for it. Only to lose in 6 games. And so of course you could say someone would say, well, he should have just left him out anyway, let him get right, and play Monday morning quarterback. But what I would say is this: it's probably more important to get the young man's head right, and get him right mentally, and get things going right. Aside from the basketball, it's hard as hell to win a championship. It's hard as hell,
Mhm.
and like they've never been past the second round. So I think it would have been a better idea to do that, but I think I'm just wondering whose agenda was it for him to go. Like I told you, basically, I'm a person that like sneakers. He has his signature shoe line. It's dropping on the sneakers out at the end of the month. So is it Nike who's pushing his shoes? You seeing the commercial a lot? Is it the Grizzlies? Because it's like, we've been to the conference finals, never been to the finals. You're trying to make it and get over that hump. And you had the defensive player of the year. You had what was discussed, and we didn't get into it much, all NBA caliber player in John Morant. And and so some people feel that he should have made all NBA and he messed him up from the Supermax. Was it Ja trying to get back? Whose agenda is at play was it for him to get back on the floor? Because clearly, homie's not right yet, and he got to get his mind right. Like I don't want to. It's tough to just bash him too hard, but I don't want to be soft on him. It's just like do better. Like if you need help, you got to go out and get it.
You just brought up his shoes. I just see it now. His sneakers are no longer on Nike or Finish Line apps. So yeah, I mean, 'cause I remember I saw something that Nike paused his his current projects. They didn't drop them, but they just paused them. So and so yeah, my thing is, man, you did this already, and you spoke with all the upper management in the NBA, and then basically, and you even did a whole interview in front of the nation, the sports nation, and less than 2 months, you're in the same boat again. So pretty much, I don't know what the punishment would be from the NBA, but I think I don't know if they included the previous incidents before, you know, like the finish line incident and all that, whatever that stuff was. But I think now because he clearly must have just pretty much lied in front of the commissioner's face and just or he just don't care because it's basically you basically could pretty much say he said one thing behind closed doors to him. As soon as he got in the car, he went to go do the exact same thing he was doing. It was just that quick, you know. And for my whole thing, I kept, I just keep seeing people. You saw Steven Jackson, what's his name, Chris Kaman over there catching slugs.
Yeah,
I don't know where he was at, but now you're seeing like people sharing random pictures of athletes when they posing with a gun,
posting guns.
and stuff like that. I don't know if they like at a shooting range or what. I don't know. And then you hear people talking about he didn't break the law, and it's like a lot of what I'm seeing at this John Morant whole story is people will just people will just keep up with their whatever their storyline and whatever their narrative they
Yes.
want to keep up with, they will
Hmm.
ignore all the other details and just stay on that path. They
Yeah.
just this is what I want to believe in, and I'm like, dude, you
Man,
you
man,
you leaving a whole lot of stuff out
moving
of
a
there.
whole lot out.
They don't care.
Man,
So I'm
man,
like, dude,
Sonny,
you
you made
forgetting
a great
you.
point with that. That's
Yeah, cause I'm
exact.
like,
That's exactly what they do.
it's no
It's
different if you
worse because
had
I see it
a
on
child.
Twitter. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, I see it so much. Like when you having an argument, people will and I know this is off topics, not sports. The I can't remember who. Oh, the woman, Ebony K. Williams, that was talking about she wouldn't date a bus driver, and so people were trying to like give I don't guess give her support or whatever. But what they did is they pulled a clip from Mary J. Blige and T Boz from TLC talking about like they wouldn't date them and they would do this. And so like they thought they was gonna like really do something. And it was just like y'all missed the mark and y'all comparing these situations. Like it just doesn't equate. That was about as off base as how these show these pictures with LeBron and different people. And like they're showing it and they're trying to have a conversation and the pictures say 1,000 words, but it don't say the right words for the situation. And they
Yeah,
don't. Like it takes context and it's just kind of like, hey, basically in certain situations, you can be seen with a gun. You can be like, because all the weapons they had, they look. I don't know if they were doing Call of Duty, they were the gun range. Because I know like Kobe got a different athletes have gotten a little bit of criticism
yeah. They
for
look like they
having the
was like
big
at a
guns,
control
doing
area, like a gun range.
doing like the Call of Duty commercials, which in the commercials they had the guns and they were rolling with them, and they've done that a lot when they do the rollouts. They just had like Jalen Ramsey and a whole bunch of other guys. They actually have the weapons that you're using in the game, and so I'm not sure if it was a situation like that, but basically, hey man, you are a pitch man for the NBA. Like I've said it once, and I'm going to continue to say it. Think about think about. I'll say even if you push it up to, I'll say 25 and under in the NBA, been all NBA and a star. He's the one that they're hoping like you got to be the American to do it. Not to even mention in the things that he's to fix with his game, but simply you right now are the star. You are, until the guy Pauls. Because let's be real, you know what Nike's gonna do? Just look up what happened with Kobe and notice how his situation paused. Other brands left. They was like, we're gonna pause it. Things came back up. He scored 81 points. Oh man, his shoe just dropped. Selling out crazy. They're going to do the same thing. If John Morant gets out of his way, they're going to here goes the John Morant two. Don't worry about the John Morant one. Don't worry about that. We just own two. We're gonna sell it. He just dropped 45. He's an NBA, he's an MVP candidate. They're gonna do that. But the thing is for him, more importantly, is that's cool if you can come back and be a candidate and fly on the straight and narrow for a little bit. You gotta get whatever issue is right, or you have to get out of your head that like, look, bro, if he's the guy that's gonna be, let's just be real. If he's the guy that, everybody knows somebody on social media that does this, they get their money, they spread it all out, they put it out, racks to the ear, all that stuff with the guns. If you're somebody that likes to do that for whatever reason, and you think that's cool, Jai, if that's normally you, that can't be you no more. Just like, okay, you're a superstar now, so you might not be able to just go to the mall because they're gonna mob you. Hey, let me get an order. You can't do like you can't go to certain like there's certain spots you probably can't go to the dice game. Like John, you go there no more. You got to realize there's stuff you
He
can't do,
he's just
bro.
trying to keep this. He's trying to keep this image, and that's basically, I guess, when it comes down to it. Like for the people who sharing just dudes holding a gun that look like they're
Yeah,
just posing for somebody with a camera, whatever, like at a I don't know if a shooting range or whatever. But Ja's getting on these Instagram lives and flashing them, and it just looks like an image. No, he's not breaking any laws. As a matter of fact, you assume because he plays in Tennessee, the recent one was in Tennessee. I think the previous one I think was in Colorado, but this one
yeah, I was in
was in
Colorado.
Tennessee. They just like Texas. They don't need a permit anymore to carry. They open carry. So he's not breaking any laws. So that move that to the side. The
That's a
NBA is
good
his
point.
own thing. The NBA has their own rules. They want their own image. You making they paying you all this money. It's not even the NBA as well. It's NBA, hell Nike, Powerade is one of his sponsors. They want you to have this image.
Oh, but I was thinking, if it's Powerade, that's Coca Cola. That's
Yeah,
Coca.
Coca
They
Cola.
own
Yeah.
by. So
So
you
they
so you
want
got
they want
one of
their
the
image.
biggest brands. One of
exactly.
NBA,
He would
Coca
have been
Cola.
with
We just
Coca-Cola
gonna
and
stop.
Nike.
We're just gonna step at Coca Cola, Nike, and the NBA. We just gonna stop right there and just say,
Hmm.
hey, those companies might not want you flashing a gun. Corey Hager, appreciate you joining the chat. Yes, everybody, please like and share this. Jay, what's going on, bro? I see you, OJ. You said Kobe's about to be a star in China. Yeah, I mean he was already a star in China as far as
Yeah, he
Kobe,
was
like just
huge.
because of that.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was,
he
and
probably
what it did
he damn
was
near probably as big as Yao.
that probably that 2008 Beijing Games led to that, and that's the thing. Like I couldn't even remember if Jai got his opportunity to be on the Olympic team, and that's another thing. As good as he is, being a great player, that's something you can put on your resume, and it and when we think about it day to day, it does not get brought up. But when you really think about it, some players you can always say, "Hey, he helped let us to go." And that Kobe and as much as you said about LeBron and that group of guys, that '03 class, Dwayne Wade, Melo, they did lead us back to prominence to dominating, kicking ass, in the Olympics. They led us back to that. And like somebody like Melo, you can say, "Hey, he ain't got no championship ring, got 3 gold medals." He made up for that Athens game. He made up for that.
Yeah, that's after
And
they hired Coach K and he helped them
yeah, after
turn.
after
Yeah,
after they hired Coach K and got it right, like yeah, that's something that do they want you representing Team USA? So it's like, golly, man, it's like I'm tired of stressing it. Like, just get it right. Like, he's a player that I like, but it's one of those deals. Like, bro, you're a player I like, but it's not on the team that I root for. So I was like, bro, it's becoming it. Like I'm used to the drag of your own team. Like last year, it was tough to follow the Lakers. It's like they lost again, and then it's like this year started 2-10. Like that's a drag, but it's like, hey, it's my team. I'm gonna ride with them. We'll get through this. Hopefully, in this case, it's like, bro, it's tough being a fan of you. I'm tired of hearing this stuff, man. It's like get yourself right mentally, not for the enjoyment of people watching you do what you are
yeah.
naturally blessed and gifted with,
I
but just get right for yourself as a man. Like
he just
just and
gotta
then stop
he
doing
just gotta
stupid
like who I
stupid.
just he just have to like who he is. I guess I don't know because I don't even know if it's a mental health issue. I just think the dude is just he's just trying to roll with a different crowd. I don't know how his ties are with him. I think one of them is his old friends or whatnot. He just don't want to leave that life alone basically. And
Yeah.
even though he has this whole world to him that's available to him, all they ask, because the NBA just say, man, we just don't want you doing that. And the thing
Yeah.
is, you got to slap on the wrist the first time.
Hmm.
So, and that's the thing that they ignore. This is not the first time. You literally went there. You talked to the
Yeah.
commissioner. He said y'all talked about what he didn't want you to do anymore. All of this. So it's not even forget about the gun and the laws or whatever. You already spoke with them and you talked about what they want you to do and all this. You go and do a damn interview so everybody else can see you saying these
Hmm.
words, and then you immediately go and put yourself. So now these are these do NBA. They are authority figures to their. They want their league looked at in a certain way. If they feel
That's how
like
they made
that,
the dress code.
yeah. If they feel like, well, I can't imagine this was David Stern. I think with Silver was always looked at as the players'
Players commissioner.
commissioner. David Stern, especially when that whole Artest thing happened in Detroit, and they asked him, well, he said he basically said it was my vote. That was it. When he suspended Artest for the rest of the season, a whole year,
Hmm.
they didn't even ask nobody else. Stern got on there and said it was mine. He said that. So if this was Stern, especially if he gave you a slap on the wrist the first time and then you immediately go do it again, oh hell no, man. I pretty much whatever sympathy or leniency, they probably just gonna suspend him hard because of that. You came up here and did all of this, and then immediately they don't want you making them look like a fool.
Yeah, they
So he
don't.
was like, okay, all right, man. I see what I see. That's why, and just saw something. People mad at Malika Andrews for asking the commish during the lottery yesterday about the John Morant thing. I'm like, well, it is a big story,
I mean, it's
I
a
just
big story. Like I know she's not liked, and we're not like
they
like
get on Malika for
we're not
everything now.
we're not rocking with it right now, but just because somebody is not like that mean that I have a right to ask. Because look at it, what was this? This was posted March 16th from a non. This is not an NBA website, but if you just simply do Google John Morant, one of the top searches was from Fortune.com. After a second suspicion in a gun video on Instagram, John Morant sponsors Nike and Coca-Cola have to make a choice. So when you get stories like that, you were in. Come on, man. Now we all know it could happen. Coca Cola could drop them, but then Pepsi could pick them up because they have Gatorade, and they'll just let it die. So it's just like, but it's still the fact that you having to go through that. Nobody wants to sit you through that. And then I'm not gonna lie, there's certain conversations I can take being had, but like when you get like when you get like JJ Redick, like I was just bruising, getting ready for the show. I saw JJ Redick had mentioned like we're killing this kid, he's 23 and this, that, and the third. And I was just like some issues as far as holding the gun and doing certain stuff is like I do not like having those conversations sometimes around my white counterparts. It's just because like look, it's so much to explain, there's so much you don't know. I really it's like God damn, and it's just
You
like
talking about when he
now I gotta
was talking
educate
about it
you.
on First Take?
Yeah, it's like I gotta educate
Yeah,
you and
they will go, you know, because they was bringing the political environments in, which I
yeah,
understood the point, but 'cause I think that was when they brought that up because a lot of people are looking at Ja condemning him. Meanwhile, you got these political figures doing basically
yeah,
they doing the pictures and stuff, but
with
y'all
the
not
guns.
saying nothing about them and whatnot.
Yeah,
But you worried about Ja flashing his gun on a live,
yeah.
even
I,
though he
I
didn't do
heard them.
nothing.
Yeah, that's
So
I heard them talking about that on. Well, Monty Jones was talking about that, and he was like we mentioned it when the show started when we were talking about the different pictures you had with the athletes, maybe at the
yeah,
gun range or somewhere else, and then the fact that like the politicians have different rules, like they're doing this for shock value. And as weird as this country is, their base is cool with that. Like their base is cool with them going in, like they're shooting, like
and that same
they're the
base is the
base of
one
people
turn
that they
around and
want
have
to
an
vote
issue
for
with
them.
Morant.
Yes, and that same things. And it's like, yes, we live in, especially as a black man, we live in a world full of hypocrisy. And that's the thing
Yeah,
and at 23, I can understand it being tough to understand that, but you've gone through some contract negotiations, you've gone through some things and some sensitive, some all types of training that you do when you come to the league. If you can't understand that if you're doing it out of rebellion, they're gonna show you.
and, and
They're gonna teach you a lesson.
a
So
lot of
it's
the athletes they just they're not saying he did anything wrong per
yeah,
se. You know, besides keeping up with this whatever this image he wants to keep up with, they basically saying, dude, you're gonna potentially screw up all your money. If this what you want to do and you don't care about playing ball, fine. You know, leave ball alone, go do that and live happy doing that. But if you want to do this and make all this money, dude, and you just can't put this down, you know, don't show this. You tell me not to act like a
yeah,
fool on the internet, and I'm over here making over 200 in my main profession, and then probably I don't know how much he's getting from his sponsors. He probably approaching almost $1 billion when it's all said and done with his sponsorships and his NBA. He's probably maybe
yeah,
around 600. I don't know how much it is, but you have
yeah,
that much money that you are that you are endangering just because you want to live up to this image where you don't even have to. Why are you doing? Why?
yeah. If
Just
it's
why? You already know that your employer does not want you to do that, and then you're
yeah,
gonna do this, and then if he end up getting super suspended by the NBA and his sponsorships drop, watch how much people be saying they gonna try to bring race into it, and then two
yeah,
they gonna act like these companies are overreacting. Like, dude, he knew this. This is his second time. It was
yeah,
told to him the first time. Then he gonna go out and do it again. What's that saying? Like, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on
shoot,
you.
yeah, shit,
Well,
yeah.
that's what
Yeah, what
he's
is it?
doing. He already knew the consequences and go out there and do it anyway. And
He
now
did it.
instead of slap you on your hand, they just take out your money and you know, I'm like, all right, man, if that's what you want to do, then go ahead, man.
I know this. It's just one. It's a thing where it's just like, and I know we got to transition to our next topic because it's something the draft lottery taught me something that I subconsciously knew, and I just had never said it until now. But it's just wrapping this up with a bow. But yeah, dude, all I can say is, hey man, stop doing this. Stop. You got the incidents with the guns and the extracurriculars have to stop. And I know that we've tried to. Hey, is that his friends? Is the friend group? If you noticed in the video, anybody that's seen it, as soon as the gun flashed, homie dropped the camera down.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, hey, for me, I just would have cut the live off and be like, bruh, you
They
know, because
still would
like
have.
you said,
Somebody still would have captured it in.
and
Make
somebody
that
still
live. Somebody
captured it
still would
because
have captured it.
it's so fast because people are waiting for things like that because they're waiting for people to go live, seeing something, especially with your history. And I'll say this, it makes it so much worse is because now, like you said, Sean, we're gonna tie everything up to the last one. And when I was watching the series, they mentioned it a few times, but the main focus was Young Grizzlies, Dylan Brooks with his comments after the game, and then you got it within the series. Jared Jackson got the MVP, so you had others talking points.
Yeah, they
League
was
was
trying to. They
simply
was
going to
trying to
move
make their
on.
way
They were
past
going
it.
to move on,
Yeah,
and
they
now
was
you
gonna
brought
move
it right
on.
back up. So now we
Exactly.
are in two good conference finals. Look like it's going to be, and now we're going to have to mention this. It's going to take away. We got a generational the rights to draft a generational talent. That's had a lot of hype,
Man,
and
that pissed me off yesterday.
that I know it did, and so we go smooth this transition to it, Johnny. When I felt bad for the Pistons, bro. You won 17 games and you dropped to the 5 spot, and the lottery is a
That
cruel
tanking
game.
don't work in the NBA,
The
man.
tank it don't work, and then the thing is with them, they tanked, but it was more of a natural tank because your number one pick, Kay Cunningham, he's from Arlington, Texas. He got hurt early in the year, and they was like he started off, he was putting up, the big numbers. He's a good player, but he got hurt, and so they sat him. So, but you sat him, but you already had, they made the trade for Wiseman at the deadline. They had the young big Jalen Durant that they got in the lottery. They had young talent, Killian Hayes and get drafted a few years ago, but they just haven't been able to put it all together. If you don't get a guy like Wembanyama and your number one pick with Cade, then you got, a ball handler with some size, get some shooting there, and you started something. But when the Spurs got it, it just made me, it was really jealousy. So you mean to tell me that Tim, and I know everybody does the Tim Kobe thing, and they always feel like he's so superior. And that's one I look at it, and I'm like, well, I guess depending on how you look at it. But I'll say this: I was jealous that Tim got to play for Pop the whole career. Kobe got to play, some field, and then some other coaches didn't field, and some other guys, and it just, all fell apart or whatever. But for you to have the stability and then the luck to have David Robinson, 87, Duncan, what was that, 90, said
That was
97,
96,
98,
96,
90, yeah.
90, 96. Yeah, was it
No, no,
96?
not
90,
96,
90,
not 97.
97,
Because that
97.
Kobe was 96, they was
Yeah,
97. It
yeah,
was
he was
that next year.
97.
And so you get him in 97, and then in 2023, you get Wembanyama. But what was crazy was, and I saw this from a Houston-based writer, when the Rockets got four, Wembanyama was like, yes. And I was like, I'm assuming they were showing it like he was watching the draft lottery when they got four. So it's just like, oh, so he didn't want to go to Houston. But it's just like, I know that the Spurs, have foundations in international talent. Because I did hear that there are organizations, obviously, all the guys internationally they've taken. The Spurs have good relationships with those players. The Mavericks do too. Like there's players that we don't hear about those things, but the OGM of the Mavericks, Nelson,
Hmm.
Donnie, he had been known about Giannis. He had been known about Giannis for a while, and that was
Yeah,
somebody
Donnie
they
knows a lot about international players.
yeah, and so I'm assuming the Spurs had already had the relationship between Boris Diaw that's played there, obviously Tony being number one for that they drafted him, and just different players they've had around their team. They probably had done a lot of homework on the kid, and so now to get him with Pop is like, dang. So even when Pop leaves, I just wanted the Spurs to like taste some of what everyone else has tasted. Like even as a Laker fan, I had 6 years to just get my ass kicked. Like I wanted to just this one year was not enough. Like we swept them, and I was like, damn, we've never like swept them like that. I wanted them to get a little taste of it, but I mean, good played organizations, you set yourself up for the right way. Luck finds you. So they was able to win it. They're gonna get Wembanyama, and no telling what else. So whatever coach gets this job next, whether it's Tim, whoever. Like somebody said, they said, man, Tim gonna get him right. I said, damn, he is gonna work with Tim Duncan. And I was like, yeah, I was like, they got it ready made for the kid
Yeah,
to come in and have some success.
yeah, he's a generational player. Well, he's hyped up as the generational player. And he still got to
Yeah.
show it on the NBA court. So yeah, the Rockets had a chance to get him. So I was like, okay, if they don't get number one, because I wouldn't mind. I said, okay, consolation prize, get Brandon Miller. You know, I mean, I probably would, I like Brandon Miller. Probably, I haven't really seen too much of Scoot Henderson, but I heard he, you know, because he has the NBA body. You know, it's just a lot of stuff, and especially in basketball, man. It just depends on once they get on the NBA court. You hear a lot of hype on various players. And then when they get to the court, NBA court, it's just a completely different. You know, will they? You know, it's just with the NBA though. It's just like sometimes the way unless you just really it's almost like luck. It's like the only chance now the way how NBA players are, the only chance now to get like a real good draft pick is in the lottery because so much what is it, 2 rounds and so much of
Yeah,
them
two
don't really
rounds.
so much of the draft picks don't really stay in the league. So
Well,
it's just
that's
like
because I think they're going off of that. You're going off those, and I know it's only 2 rounds, so you can't do it. In the NFL, the first round is you take the risks of the guys, but it's like if they check the boxes athletically, it is like we'll teach and develop him this. In the NBA, that happens in the second round, but you're still going for traits and things like that, and be like, hey, well, this is where he projects. And sometimes you're taking a complete player that didn't have the size, but he had the ability. A la Jalen Brunson was one of the top picks in the second round, and just tore it up this playoffs, tore it up last year's in the playoffs, got a big deal, and he's showing you that he was able to get it done.
yeah,
Whereas in
because Bronson
basketball,
was
and
like
I
4 years at Villanova, right? He was 4 years
four
there.
years in Nova,
Yeah, so
and I've
you
seen it.
saw his skill set.
You saw the skill set. Like I remember guys that it's like you heard things about him, and it was like, hey, why didn't he go this high? And it's kind of like the longer you stay, the more warts they see you have. Whereas he could have a lot of warts, but if he's not, oh, he's 19, and he could do this, this, and this, and it's like, what about all that other stuff? And what if that doesn't fix itself? And that happens so much with the NBA draft, but that's just the nature of the beast. And then
Yeah,
you get a
and
guy, you know,
that's what I'm seeing. That's what I'm seeing in the NBA. It's like since they drafted them younger and younger and younger, they almost they almost have to develop their game. You know, the fundamentals of their game in the NBA instead of prior.
mhm.
And you see that. That's why you know just that's why sometimes the way the game is today, like sometimes the players of yesterday, I'm I want to say they was more skillful or they was asked to do different things. Cause like now, it's like it's so much players now in today's NBA. They depend so much on their athleticism. You take that away, what they not a consistent jump shooter. Um, that's why now you really have 3 and D players. They're not really consistent in shooting a three. You know, it just a lot of times that's when the Rockets issues now with their young players. They have a tendency to do like try to do this ISO ball. I think Udoka going to change that a lot of it when he's up there.
Yeah.
But that it's just you can see the inexperience playing, but they got to learn that while at the NBA when they playing like a 4 year college player, he gets
Hmm.
more of his fundamentals in school. So it looks like he got like a better foundation once he get on the NBA. Now I just gotta see if his talent level can take him up there. And I think that's what happened with Bronson. He came in with a better foundation instead of always looking at these 19,
He
20
was
year
a
olds who just
coach's
basically coming
dream.
into the NBA, coming into the NBA on basically hype. So
Hype and athleticism. But what I'll say is the problem that's hurt is, and I'll say that has hurt the league some, is you've been doing the thing with the one and dones for, let me see, you've, I will say they stopped it in 2005 was the last draft class. So that's 18 years ago that you could come out of high
I
school
think
because that was
LeBron was
the
the
same.
last class that won it done. No,
Nah,
out of
LeBron
high
was
school.
the high
Out
school.
of high school,
Yeah,
yeah, out of
the
high
last
school.
high school was '05 because that was old boy from CJ Miles out of Skyline, Andrew Bynum, Lou Williams. There was a few others, and I want to say all of them actually had relatively some level of success. Bynum's just injuries, and he was one of the guys that didn't just love the game. But I'll say this about getting a pick, and there are teams that can evaluate players and there are teams that can't. And I know a lot of times guys like to go get the foreign players because they're developed in basically over in this country, school is a sham, and the other country knows that, and outside of this country, they know that, and so they're just allowed to. Hey, man, you're really good in sports. Go ahead and just go to this basketball academy. So you're playing that professional. Like they got that picture of Luca playing against Russell Westbrook then when he was a teenager, and it's like he's been growing and developing his game for a while. And so you have that, but then you also have those stories where Austin Reeves has had a pretty good post All Star break and had a good first rookie year. That guy was undrafted. And now he's about to get to the negotiation table. When you look what I've done, so you have teams that can evaluate players. You have teams that go after those traits and they miss. Like the Mavericks, everybody almost I'd say about 70, 3/4 of Mavericks fans want them to trade this pick because they don't trust them to make the right guy. They just don't. Or if they get the right guy, I know Mavericks not to traumatize you. You let it. He walks out the building, and goes straight to the Knicks and don't even give you a chance to negotiate. But what I'll say about Wembanyama is he is 7'3". He's mobile. He can block shots. He can shoot. Yeah, he's thin. My thing is about the guys with the weight. I used to be like that, and then I saw Kevin Durant, and I remember he couldn't even bench. The amount of weight. I think it's like 185 or something like that. He couldn't bench it, but I was like, but he could score. The body weight will come, and
Hmm.
the strength will come. But Wembanyama, just the history of guys that
Cause
tall
Giannis was
and
like that.
injuries.
Giannis was
Giannis,
like that.
Giannis was thin. Giannis was thin. He wasn't as thin as like KD, but he was really thin. And
Hmm.
his thing was everybody's players are different. He wasn't eating consistently. From what I've heard, it just they gave him 3 square meals a day in a meal plan, and all of a sudden weight starts coming on. It's kind of like the guys not Gary Payton, Gary Patterson from TCU used to get. He used to get the underdeveloped player, and then he's giving them 3 square meals, and then they develop. Just like those guys in Florida, they give him that food. Man, this dude coming in at 160, you feeding him, he gets up to 180, 185, and he keeps the speed. And now it's like, okay, now you can play in the SEC. And it's like you have those stories, but they don't. Those are the stories I'm interested in. Like those interesting stories, like hey, they were out there peddling for food. Giannis's family was. And, it's tough to hear that sometimes, but it's just like, hey, some of these guys come from back, but mainly because, and they was talking about this on Twitter. If you watch the draft this year, to see how many guys or hey, second generation NBA players or the cousin of somebody in the NBA, because it's obviously a genetic lottery but a lot of times with the skills training that's needed, and the workouts and the traveling and the traveling and the circuit, you really need to have a little bit of change in your pocket to get all the way to this level. And that's not like that somebody say, hey man, the guys from Hard Knocks University from the bottom, them guys you don't see those guys get drafted anymore.
Hmm.
And it's just like when I watched the draft last year, I was like, oh, okay, those are the guys that I see in the gym at those big tournaments, and I was like, okay, and it's just something interesting to look at. But I don't know, man. Just like Chet, I was worried about Chet Holmgren because I think to me he's the same caliber of guy Wembanyama is. He's just from France. But Chet Holmgren was the number one player, looked great. Unfortunately got hurt. I can't wait to see them match up against each other. I think they won't be in the same division, I don't think. Because I think
No,
Oklahoma City still plays in a division with Portland in them
they
because they
used
came from
to.
Seattle. Yeah, so I don't know if they put them in the same division, even though they're right there in Oklahoma City. But it's gonna be real interesting to see how it works out with them. I know they're gonna hype it up. I know I'm gonna be watching that first summer league game he plays in, if he plays in the summer league. I know if this was next year, he wouldn't be able to be drafted because he's skipping the combine. Which they're gonna stop those guys from skipping that combine, and then you got all kind of injuries and who we didn't know about, and
Hmm.
now they gotta low manage you as soon as they draft you, which that's something they work out on the CBA. But as a look ahead, if you were Portland, would you keep that pick, or would you trade Damian and just start over?
And I think I think Portland wouldn't mind trading Lillard. It's just depending on, but Lillard been there. He's been so loyal to him. They
Hmm.
just gonna leave that ball in his court. If he say, hey y'all, if he gives them the green light, just basically not asking for a trade, but like, hey, if y'all need to trade me, y'all think it's gonna make the team better, I'm open for it. But I don't think they even really. I think they will let him basically dictate, okay, trade me, because I really they basically need to trade him and start over because they can't get another player to come over there with them. They tried so long, nobody goes up
Yeah.
for Portland. I mean, you got people now. You got people Milwaukee pulling up these trades. That's how they was able to get
Yeah. Drew.
the championship.
Hmm.
Phoenix is able to get. You got these markets that traditionally are
And
not
and
like
Phoenix is more attractive.
major
I won't
markets.
even put Phoenix in there. They're more attractive because if you want to, everybody, a lot of those guys have houses in LA, trainers and stuff like that. So if you're in Phoenix, you're a quick flight away. And in Phoenix, it's a place where, for young rich guys, it's cool to live.
Yeah, it's a
I've
big
heard that.
city. It's a
So
big
so
city for
it's
whatever reason. They just wasn't getting. They
yeah,
wasn't attracting free agents. But now they're starting
like
to get
yeah.
stuff
Now they
via
can
trades.
and
So,
that's the way
but
to do it.
Portland just
Well,
can't
they're
do
not gonna.
none of that. They can't
You
get the
got to draft and
trades. They
develop.
can't get
But
the free agents. I'm like,
yeah, you can only get they can only get the mid tier guy. Like they got if they get if they can get a player with that third pick to go with Damian Lillard and to go with what is it, Jeremy Grant, like which is a guy that if he's your third guy, like I remember when the last time the Nuggets was in the conference finals, he was guarding LeBron. He was a guy. He's a wing defender. He can shoot the three at a decent rate. So if you get a 3-and-D guy like him, but if he's your third or fourth guy, that's how you are competing for a championship. So they're going to have to make those moves. But I think one of the moves that pigeonholes themselves is they brought back the Anthony Simmons. They brought him back, and so now you back to the small backcourt. I think they should move off of if they can move off of Simmons, and they can if they can move off of him, and if they can get somebody for that third pick, but they probably want to keep Simmons. But then you're doing the thing where okay, you're gonna have Grant as the four. Basically, the only thing you can do is trade for a three. But the thing is, at times, are you going to need somebody to come off your bench like when you had Josh Hart? Are you going to be able to bring somebody off the bench to have a full lineup that can switch and cover for Dame? Because you can only have one person you can cover for. If you
hmm
don't have people that you can cover for, and I know the Nuggets won the game last night, but they were hunting Jamal Murray. They was like, now we're gonna switch and get Jamal Murray into this action and see what he can do. And that was one of those deals where it's like, man, you gotta have something.
I'm trying to.
Hold on, listen.
Hopefully this works. I don't know. I don't know if that works or not, but because usually, our admin be trying to drop links on that, so
Yeah,
I never do it. But now, getting into these playoffs, I mean, of course, you got the Celtics and the Heat playing right now. I believe
yeah,
first quarter just in. I think Celtics are up by two last time I saw. But during these playoffs, you also seeing these pretty much maybe they may be the top within the top seven head coaches in the league, but they getting fired. You already got Budenholzer from Milwaukee. They let him go. Doc Rivers they just let go, and then you got Monty Williams let go. All three of these are considered probably within the top 5 to 7 head coaches in this league, and they just letting them go. And so that's one sub story within these playoffs because they getting let go because they two of them. One was definitely let go because of a disappointing ending. That was the Bucks. I think
yeah,
the Celtics was favored versus the Sixers, but once the Sixers went up 3-2, they was like, okay, and then you was at home, and the fact that you lost at home, and I don't really blame the Sixers for letting go of Rivers because they brought Rivers there 4
to get them
years
past a
ago
certain
to get
point.
him to the Eastern Conference Finals. He never did. They gave him 4 years to do that, and that's why they brought him there. So they didn't bring him. That was his main goal. They gave him 4 shots. It didn't work out, so they let him go. And then and then Monty, I believe, because they got a new ownership and he has a different vision. He'll want different guys in there.
Yeah,
So
that
that was a good reason why Monty was let go out of Phoenix. But the thing I've been hearing about in Philly is between because their president, he's not their GM, but I don't even know who their GM is. I
some
forgot
of
his
Daryl
name.
Morey.
Their boy is the president.
He's the
He's not the
president.
Yeah, he's not GM, but he kind of acts like a GM. And his relationship with James Harden from Houston,
Hmm.
and I'm hearing rumors now that because Harden kept talking about he would love to go back to Houston or whatnot. So they're trying to figure out what's up, Andre? I appreciate you for joining us. Um, they trying to figure out how to keep him. So it looks like that Harden potentially probably put something in Morris' ears, like basically, hey, is Doc? I don't want Doc here because now you're hearing rumors that them looking at Mike D'Antoni as the head coach. So Harden, I don't know how he every
Wow.
offseason he keeps getting himself involved in these stuff that's kind of making him like
Well,
he's sneaking behind the scenes trying to get rid of
he,
somebody. Cause he was doing that with the players in Houston, and now he potentially you hear rumors about him doing that with the head coach because he wasn't really a big fan of how Doc did some ran some of the offense. So
but how is he keeping his power when Embiid is
well,
the
because of his
MVP?
relationship with him and Maury are close. That's
Yeah, I know
why,
that tight.
yeah, and that's why that's his power. That's his source. He is super close with Maury, and Maury they're just boys. So that's why he
That's
wanted to. When
crazy.
Maury left Houston and got the job in Philly, that's why he was really, okay, Brooklyn, y'all not tripping for the whole Kyrie and stuff like that. He was making a beeline to Philly because he wanted to give it more because he know
Yeah,
more
yeah,
could do stuff
yeah.
for him.
And you know what? Everybody else could see the writing on the wall to Harden to Philly, but the fact that the Rockets owner Tillman Fertitta just did not want to trade Harden back to over there where Daryl Morey was at, and then I think they made the smart move of when you know how sometimes teams have intel knowledge that and then it doesn't come out to the public till later.
Hmm.
Ben Simmons they knew they was like, hey, this is a he. They was like, nah, this ain't it. Nah, and that was before he got broken. He got absolutely broken in that conference finals game because I mean not conference finals in that semifinal when they had the lead, and that's I think that was probably their best chance to really make some noise. That 21 playoffs, and y'all let Trey Young and those Hawks beat you. That was and then Embiid was playing on uh, just a gang of injuries as per the usual, fighting through it, getting buckets, playing D, and it just that man got there to a layup and passed the ball. That man was shook to go to the line, and it's just like I've never seen someone just become such a just fall off the face of the earth. And it's just like,
Yeah,
hey, bro, you can't convince me if you were never convinced about the mental capacity and what happened in athletics. Case number one, Ben Simmons, like number one overall pick, has been an all-star player overnight. Just things happen and just cracking. There's been times where guys like Nick Anderson, when he missed those free throws
hmm
with the Magic, it
against my
affected him like
Rockets.
it.
Game one against the
Man,
Rockets. That's what helped us sweep them.
hell, I never get that. That was rough because I was like, man, I love Shaq, and I was just like they was talking about, who got you at the basketball. I was like Shaq, like him dunking and breaking goals. And I saw him, I was like, not knowing the dude that you going against is a bad dude, like not knowing fully what dream is. I'm just getting into sports, and now when I look back at it, it's just like it was great that y'all beat the Bulls, but it's like then you had to go and face
That's
Dream, and it was just like,
why you
yeah,
always hear about, especially against that first three-peat the Bulls that team. Cause not comparing the second one, cause they changed their roster and added some weapons on that second three-peat. But that first three-peat, especially with Rockets fan, when they keep hearing about this thing about, and I remember they recently asked Kenny Smith, and Kenny Smith was trying to, I forgot who was interviewing him, but he was trying to let them know, nah, we would have had the Bulls this during that because I
What up,
remember
Andre?
I remember watching those games, and the Rockets was, you always say matchups make fights, styles make fights. The Rockets was a hell of a matchup for the Bulls. They could, the
Yeah,
Bulls had no answer for
it's
Elijah
a
Wan, period.
that,
So and I
and
remember watching
that's
those games.
crazy. That's crazy because I saw how great that team was and what they did, and it's just that not being a Houstonian, but then learning and knowing a bunch of them, I never realized that the outside world looks at it like that, and I feel like that's that's so much difference that they show is so much like you show so much respect to Jordan, but sometimes you disrespect other players, and I always think that that's not the best thing when you're talking about it, and that's why like I know people hate him. They hate Nick Wright at times because he does make ridiculous takes. But the take of, hey, bro, sometimes we think about Jordan's career as 6 years. And he was talking about, we think about the first three-peat, and then, like, and that's the craziest thing. On one moment, they dropped the shoes, they dropped the whichever shoes it was, the double nickel game, and we hyped that up. And then when we talk about, Shaq, got them about the playoffs at the paint. Oh, well, it don't count. He wasn't already back yet. It's like, bro, this man had X amount of time to come back. He played, came back in the season and played. He played a full round of playoffs, and then he played against this team. And it's just like, hey, bro, I can't. Just it's almost like the bubble argument. Well, nah, bro, a whole pandemic happened. What they was LeBron and KD. Well, KD was hurt. Was LeBron and the other All NBA players at the time supposed to come up with the vaccine so they could fill the arenas so it could be like normal? Or they supposed to just cut off all the money, cut off their money? You wouldn't cut off your money, but cut off their money. Stop playing. Wait till they came back. Because even in 21, the arenas wasn't back. It wasn't until 22. Well, unless you was in Texas or states like that where it was just like, pack them in here. And so it's kind of crazy, man. It's the way people make exceptions for who they want to. But Jay, what's going on, man? How you
I,
feeling, bro?
I see Jay. I see
How
Jay
y'all
was
doing?
finally able to pop up. I don't know how he able to get in here because Jay, we don't have access to these admin principles. So I don't know who was the gatekeeper that let you in here, but we're glad you was like. Cause I saw your request on the
On the chat?
yeah for a while. I was like, hey man, I got no
Yeah,
access to it, man. So I'm just I'm
yeah.
helpless. But
Hey man,
one quick point, real quick, Jay, before we let you speak, real quick.
go ahead.
Yeah, during that, that's why when the Rockets fans and hell, even when Kenny Smith talks about it, he always referring to that first three-peat, that 90, what's that, 90 to 93.
Mm,
But the Bulls and Rockets, they didn't play each other that much. It's just when they played, the Rockets had the upper hand. The Rockets' main thing was their biggest challenge was the Jazz and the Sonics. That was their biggest challenge coming out the West.
mm,
But whenever they played the Bulls, which they didn't play too much, you know, it was you can see they always challenge. It was always good games, but the Rockets, and I believe they had a better record, the win loss record in during them 3 or 4 years, and the main reason because Vernon Maxwell did a pretty good job with making Jordan work. They didn't stop Jordan, but he was making him work. But the Bulls had absolutely no answer. Even Jordan admitted this during that I don't know what interview, but he said, "Man, we couldn't stop that monster. They had no answer." Bill Cartwright, who else? Luke Longley, whoever the hell else they put out there trying to
Luke was
stop
like,
Elijah.
it was what's his name? Was it Will Purdue?
Yeah, well,
Because I think that that
Elijah
one of
one abused them.
them
He
they was
abused them, and that was the main reason why the Rockets. So I don't know about 95, maybe 95 included that second when they two-peat, but 94 when they won that first one, I believe if they would have played the Bulls, the Rockets would have beat them. Just because of what I saw, because they only played each other in the regular season, but when I saw
yeah.
during that, the matchup was so that particular one was just such a bad matchup for the Bulls. So what's up, Jay?
How y'all doing, bro?
Fine,
Man,
fine.
I'm doing great, man.
Yeah, I know you are because your Lakers
I'm
are.
doing great. Oh yeah,
Yeah, I got you, Dante. I'm the one that's scared right now. You know who my team is, bro. Uh,
bro, man, we can bond on this one. Hey, bro, I hate the Celtics. Y'all got to Y'all got to get them this time. Bro,
dude,
they're,
yeah,
y'all got to get them this time. And it's like they are inconsistent. They are inconsistent, but they can be great at times. Like we got the Jason Tatum 51-point game, but
game,
then
but
what was
everybody's
it to you?
backing that off. I'm not even lying. They are, but
What was
let me
it?
say this. Let me do say this. There's like three cats on the Celtics that I actually don't hate. Malik Brown, I don't hate him. I actually think he would fit well with the Heat personally. That's just me. Um, don't worry, it's not Derek White. I actually don't hate him, but Mark, yeah, I don't. I actually don't hate that motherfucker. For some reason, I don't hate him. Uh, I actually like how Horford, that motherfucker's been in different teams, contribute different stuff. That's it. Don't worry, I'll get to my job thing in a second. And I don't hate Jason Tatum. I think he'll blossom into a good player, but not right now. Like I think like he still has some more growing to do. For me, I would kind of I would kind of put Ja over him a little bit. And the reason why I would kind of do that just because Ja Ja's not afraid to be that guy. And guys, don't worry, I'm gonna get to my random Ja for a second. But he just shows that he's like, I'm that dude. I dunk on you. I don't care. There's a reason why I gassed him up last year when I said like this motherfucker gonna be a
Yeah,
superstar. Like, yeah, but don't worry. We'll see how long that lasts. So let me get on my rant about John Morant, y'all, before we get into more basketball talk. This guy's a freaking idiot. He's I've said it before. He is. He's a freaking idiot. I know he really mean that apology because otherwise he wouldn't do this dumb shit again. That's stupid. Second of all, dude, you got a little girl. You a dad. Why the hell are you ruining your bag by doing dumb shit like this? And if you are gonna, and I'll say if you're gonna do it, then don't film it. Even if it's your friend, your homie should know bar none. Don't put this motherfucker on camera because he's gonna ruin his bag. If he cares, if your homie cares about you not enough, he will like, nah, screw this, bro. You can't be doing that. But Josh acting like he's a cat from the hood. That's what I don't get. And he was never about that life at all. If you look at his where he grew up, like no, he's not even about that. And it's just, bruh, like someone made a good point. You would never catch Michael. You would never catch Shaq. You would never catch. Well, I can't use Kareem because we don't know what type of detail that brother had. Magic, all this other stuff. You wouldn't catch any of these cats like without their security detail. You know what I'm saying? To keep them out of situations to where something like this would happen. And shout out to Key. I think his name is Key from one of ESPN or some shit like that. But they have their own show, and he talked about that, and I 100% agree with him. And it goes to show you, man, how young Ja is, but also he needs a life coach. Someone said that too. He needs a something because for
yeah.
me he's gonna like I'll be real. This is the first time the Grizzlies ever had a big superstar like Ja. If somebody can think of somebody else, let me know. But this is
No,
the
he's the
biggest one
first
they've
one.
had. You said they've had one?
He's the first one.
Oh,
They
he's a
had other players, but nobody. Ja basically replaced Elvis in Memphis right now.
oh okay,
Yeah,
okay. I get
they've never had an individual star
Yeah,
like this at this level to where all NBA caliber consistently
yeah,
and looked at
right.
it as the face of the league. They were the grit and grind guys. Like they've had guys
yeah.
like Paul Gasol
Paul Gasol.
who
That was it.
just missed on the top 75, but they never had like an individual D guy like this where it's like he can ascend you. Like, what's the name? Paul took him as far as they could at the time in the West. It was
Yeah,
a
he's
great
changing
player,
that
but
team too.
no,
He's changing that team.
Ja can
Yeah.
change the trajectory. I see in the chat JG what's going on, bro. But
Let
yeah,
me say something
that's
real quick. I want to take too much of your time.
But brother.
Concerning Jar, the issue is an image issue. Remember, when LeBron came into the league, he was too squeaky clean. He ain't getting no trouble. He did his job on the court and off the court.
Yep.
He
true.
stayed out of harm's ways. He didn't fumble the bat. He was almost like an upgrade to Tim Duncan. 'Cause Tim Duncan, you don't hear a peep about what he does. The
Nothing.
problem, the problem with John Murray is the fact that You know that the past 5 or 7 years they've been making fun of LeBron James or why he's so focused on, off to get himself correct. While everybody else goofing on acting a fool. LeBron understands the contract. He read his contract. He understands what he can and cannot do. He also understands there are consequences for his own action if you do anything stupid to fumble the bag. To sign a young ass idiot $230 million and not learn that whatever you do can cost you your bag. Y'all have the greatest role model still in the league, but no one wants to follow him. I remember Draymond agreed to make fun of LeBron James until he realized LeBron James was thinking way ahead. After that quiet sat down, then he have LeBron James. Now when you understand the big picture and be like, you know what? I'm not disrespect LeBron. LeBron is thinking way ahead of him. Why do you think LeBron got people who step in here afterward not to understand the real business of the aspect of it? So he get the picture. We're here to do a job, but when you do certain things to fumble your bag, you don't want to blame but your goddamn self. You're treating young people for like they're no better than the elders before them. Like Zion. LeBron told him, yo, let me speak to you a second because I see potential, but I don't want you to hurt yourself.
Yeah.
Zion is almost at a point whereby this guy got to retire early. He have not reached his full potential yet. For everybody to make fun of LeBron James when he invested so much money on his health. Health is wealth. When you're healthy, you can last longer. When you last longer, you can make more money. When you make more money, you can do more things. Why can't everybody stop trying to be all smart and then to be making fun of people, but yet you don't realize he got the game locked down before you even think about it? Why not learn from someone to make it to the next level? That is my main concern. I'm not a basketball fan, but I like to analyze and understand who's legit, who's not. Consistency is key. I didn't like Kobe, but I like his consistency, his work ethic.
True.
Same thing with Michael Jordan. LeBron was way too consistent. So when you talk about all these new generation coming in and they want to crap on the I have a Brooke Dylan flashback. Another dude want to run his mouth. We haven't accomplished anything, but yet you're playing in a legit billionaire and you becoming a legit nobody. This is the problem with today's society. Give these young kids an opportunity to go in and make a complete mockery of themselves and know who they represent. John Ray did disgrace his own father and his mother, the way he acts. Because they kept him away from all this nonsense so he can have a bright future. Just for you to throw it away?
His mother,
Yeah.
his mother was one of the main ones who got him in some of these issues.
Oh yeah, at the finish
Yeah,
the situation at the finish
His
line.
mother,
yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know
His
about that.
his mom, yeah,
Yeah.
on the
It's
on some of the incidences before that pretty much came out to the nation. Oh, his mom was the main one calling him to come do the stuff. So
And
if
you wonder why
if there's
LeBron,
anyone who's gassing up that image, it's his mom.
then
yeah.
I mean,
And
that means
that's
to
the
blame his
thing.
mom for that.
He got to get his stuff figured out. I know we're running out, but I ain't get to glow too much. I was waiting because we was talking on the lottery. But don't forget, I did tell y'all we was finishing that game in 6. I still think we can beat the Nuggets. I still thinking it's gonna be hard to do in the 7. But I got the Lakers in 6. I got the Heat in 6 because I think when you're that road team wrapping that up in that 6th game, that's a lot of pressure on that team. Even if you got Game 7 on the home coming up by the win, getting that win is really tough. And so I still got the Lakers bouncing back. I got them tying it up tomorrow 1-1 because that's going to be the best series. Like Jokic, it's tough. I'll watch the Lakers games a lot. It's tough to watch those other West Coast games sometimes. Man, you gotta watch Jokic, man. I'm glad this is at a central good time zone. He was awesome last night.
Yeah,
I
he
was in
was.
awe, and I'm rooting. He's playing against my team. He was killing it, man.
It was. I have, man.
Yeah, I can't laugh at my team. I'm just
I honestly have the Nuggets in 7 and Boston in no. Damn it.
who
I
would come
want to
out of
say I think I'm gonna say Nuggets in 7 and Heat in 7. It's just because,
Yeah,
and the main difference, Jokic was doing his thing yesterday, but damn it, man, the Nuggets just have some shot makers.
they
It's
they got
do.
like
some shot
Jeff
the Lakers.
Green.
It's like they was playing good defense, but when
Yeah,
one dude, whoever the dude that got open, was just draining his shots. Whether it was Murray, hell, Green came off the bench hitting his shots. Porter Jr. was hitting his shots.
Yeah,
Everybody just hit their shots, and that's like, damn, man. It's like you holding one hole in the dam, and then this pop open. That's the only
Yeah,
thing
yeah.
I get with Denver. They have shot makers, and that's the biggest thing you need in this
They do.
NBA.
They got him. They got him. It's gonna be hard to overcome that, but it was evident last night that the Lakers have faced the Grizzlies with the defensive player of the year, defensive culture, the Warriors who could switch, one of the great generational defenders, and Draymond Green got Andrew Wiggins. So they had guys that could defend, but now they're going to a team where KCP is probably the best defender, and he can, he's good and solid, but they're going to be able to get buckets, and that showed once they got the offense together, they're going to be able to score at will. And then with them putting Rui or whichever other adjustments they can get to get AD on him, because I saw that play where it was just like, damn, bro, AD really that guy. Like he's going for his jumper, and I mean he just got it. And I was just like,
right.
but then I saw the play where he got him under the basket and just spun around, and I was like, bro, that's gonna be an epic battle. And so I think it's gonna be
Yeah,
6 or 7, but just because I think the Warriors might be, the Nuggets might be the one to break the Lakers streak of not losing a playoff game at home. I think it might end up being 2-2 after 4 on Game 5 in Denver. Is gonna probably be the one to sway it, but we're gonna
yeah,
see, man. It's every other night, and so I appreciate that because they're gonna get it out the way because the finals start June 1st. So yeah, I see the Celtics got the Celtics are up 55-47 by what I'm seeing per ESPN right now.
what did it
So
say?
yeah, that's a 55-47. Celtics up.
God damn it,
So
that's why I want to know the score. I think I'm like for me, guys, like I've said it before, man. Get Jimmy some fucking help. I've said it before. I've said it 1,000 fucking times.
yeah,
Like I'm still pissed that Hero freaking broke his goddamn hand over some stupid shit. And I'm like, that's so stupid. I'm gonna figure out the stupidest thing ever. But for me, man, I said it before, man. You got to get a ring before he freaking leaves the NBA, at least one. You know how I feel, bro.
yeah.
He got to. Ain't no dude just gonna score 56 and then just
Yeah,
disappear.
he tried. He said it when he got there. He's like, I gotta win it. I've heard it. Like he said, he's really destined to try to win. So I know we're wrapping up, man. By the time we get back next week, the Lakers and Nuggets series will be at Game 5.
Yeah.
So we're getting real close to
Game
the
five
end of
and
it.
probably this one be probably both of them be back unless it's like
Well,
today. One of them probably be
yeah, I
playing
want
when
to
we
say
doing
Somebody
the
said
show.
Boston would
the
sweep the Heat.
Celtics. The Celtics and the Heat will be at Game 5, but they're gonna play Game 5 on Thursday. Matter of fact, during the show, I apologize in advance. The Warriors, the Lakers, and the Nuggets play at 7:30. So
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'm gonna have to set up over here streaming.
Yeah, but yeah. For
But
me, I'm gonna be real. For as a Heat fan, I think this is as far as the Heat go, just because there's, like I said, bro. If you can get Dame Lillard next year, bro, I don't care what you got to do. I don't give a freak what you got to do.
nah,
Get hey, listen. Get rid of Bam and give me Dwight Howard. At least
it
that
it
motherfucker
it
are done.
it matters. It matters because the new CBA rules. And we're gonna get into that when it's off season time. But
Yeah,
you do gotta keep a sense of the depth. Look at the team that everybody was so scared of the Suns, and I said it on the show. Everybody don't got enough depth. And what happened? They ran out of bodies. So you do
yeah,
need to make the medium trade to where it's just like, damn, that's the fourth guy. Like that's what was dangerous when the Warriors won. Andrew Wiggins, the former number 1 pick, is the fourth option.
right.
So you
I
got
feel you, man.
Steph Clay, Poole, and then he's the fourth. So I know we got to finish up. Hey man, we got to get into
Yeah,
some baseball
we
next
Nah,
got
week.
I got y'all, man.
yeah,
Thanks
we'll
for
get
having me,
into
man.
it, but we gotta make room for this next show coming up now. So
Yeah, I
Got to
got
make
let's
you.
sure
go
we
ahead
manage
and
it. So
Oh, yeah.
so
Good question, guys. You got Boston and what? Boston or Heat and what? In Game
I,
Five?
I
I,
got
I
the Heat
got
in
Heat. I
six.
got Heat in 7.
I
You
got Heat in
do?
six. Yeah, I got both of
Hey,
these
listen,
kind
I'm
of on
not gonna
6 or 7,
lie, bro.
seeing how close they are.
Uh, yeah, I'm surprised y'all would because I know every metric system puts Boston ahead of everybody, and I'm like, and guys, don't get it twisted. I'm a Heat fan, and I won't drag this out because we gotta get another show. But man, like I said, Jimmy can't do it all by himself. Like I said, Michael Jordan had a team behind him. Don't get it twisted. Everybody contributed and was a good, at least decent or above. And the motherfucker had Dennis Rodman, Scottie Pippen, and Steve Kerr. So yeah. But other than that,
All right.
guys, but root for the Heat if you can, and we'll see what the Nuggets Lakers series is like because I'm interested in that one. All right, y'all
Yeah.
take care.
Oh yeah.
All right, man.
All right, yeah.
All right, y'all. Peace.
Peace.